Yo, tapping in real quick, something light, nothing major. You can call this the final thoughts, the final answer, the final talks, the final lap, call it what you will. We fitting to run through this motherfucker from bottom to top one more again. You know what I'm talking about? And we should breeze right through it as there are no changes. We just running through it from bottom to top one more again for what it's worth. You know what I'm talking about? Let's dive into it, man. That first fight of the night, as of right now, as far as this lineup is concerned, is Chris versus Eric. Not a fight that I want a whole lot of action on as far as betting and parlaying is concerned, but I am on the side of Chris as I was in their previous matchup, and I was able to catch Chris in their previous matchup with a dog tag next to his name. The closer we got to fight night, the closer he got to a pick'em, and then he became the slight favorite. And I see that going the exact same way in this matchup once again. You know what I'm talking about? Because, why I liked Chris for what it was worth when they were lined up to fight the first go around. I like him a lot more the second go around based off the fact that Eric is the one that pulled out. I tapped in when they did the, face-offs and all that, and I said right then, Eric looked stiff. He looked to seem like he had something bothering him on his right side when he was stepping on and off the scale, and that just made me a bit more confident in my Chris pick then. The fact that he was unable to proceed on, and move forward with the fight, it had to be rescheduled. I'm still confident in Chris, you know what I'm talking about? But it is a fight that I want, not a whole lot to do with. Chris is still the pick. Vicente versus Themba. Vicente's still the pick. Like I told you, there's no changes, but I have properly prepared myself being on the wrong side of this pick as far as, parlays are concerned, as can be seen in the, parlay video. You know what I'm talking about, and the multiple variations of parlays that I've offered and riddled all over the community wall. You dig me? Randy versus Brian. This is where my real action starts because I am really confident in Brian battle in this matchup against Randy. Nothing's changed there. Unfortunately for Randy, I do feel like Brian will find the finish inside the distance. Either way you look at it, I don't see a night where Randy wins this matchup, man. Again, that's just my personal opinion, but that is where my confident picks and a lot of my action begins. You know what I'm talking about? Followed up by Cody versus Joshua. Extremely confident in Joshua in this matchup. Styles make matchups. I believe Joshua Van to be a very bad stylistic matchup for Cody Durden. And regardless of what money lines may suggest up and down this card, I believe Joshua Van to be, that one on this card. He's like hands down one of my most confident picks on this card. You know what I mean? Now, the money line might not suggest that, he should be my most confident pick on the card because Chase and sitting at minus 800 and Bryce is at minus 5 and Kennedy's at minus 4. But, those fights all come with their own issues, man. You know what I'm talking about? And Cody and Josh, I do not see a night where Cody beats Josh. I see plenty of nights where Josh beats the brakes off of Cody, gets the finish inside the distance from clipping and disconnecting him from his consciousness, or just beats him via unanimous decision 30-27. You understand what I'm saying to you? So, it is what it is. Eva Loft versus Aljo. Y'all already know I have properly prepared myself for being on the wrong side of this pick as far as parlays are concerned, but when it comes to a pick, Aljamain is very much so it. That will not change. I stand on it. That's the homie, so I will not go against the grain. You understand what I'm saying to you as far as a pick is concerned? But it comes with its questions, man. It comes with its questions from both sides. And I said it to multiple individuals, and I've said it multiple times while I'm on the Aljo side, and I do see a night where he can, walk away victorious. I can see a lot more nights where Evilov makes this fight look like the main event, Jan versus Figueiredo, with Evilov playing the role of Jan and Aljo playing the role of Figgy. You understand what I'm saying to you? Evilov just using his offensive and defensive wrestling, grappling, just his all-around wrestling and grappling abilities in his own right to keep the fight upright, landing the, more significant, solid shots and producing a better body of work over the course of 15 minutes, because this is 15 minutes. And it is what it is, man. More times than not, I can see Evilov walking away victorious via unanimous decision, split, or majority decision. But more times than not, I can see Evilov walking away getting the nod. You know what I'm talking about? And it is what it is. Aljo's the homie, so Aljo's the pick. Moving on. Michael versus Max. I like Max, man. I like Max. I can't deny that, Michael could very much so show up and get this one done inside the distance via submission or by grinding out a decision, man. I don't necessarily know that he's going to be able to get Max down to the ground to put him in compromisable positions via, single legs, double legs, or any kind of wrestling entries for takedowns. But I do believe he can get him down to the ground, or at the very least put him in a compromisable position while they're on their feet by just taking his back and backpacking him. You know what I'm talking about? I can see that happening. I can see Mike just, hopping on him, and pulling an Aljo, you know what I'm talking about, or a Damian Maya, and just riding his back out for about 2.5 minutes of the round until he possibly finally, is able to pull him down backwards, you know what I'm talking about, or Max is able to disengage. And then it's all about who produces the better body of work over the course of 15 minutes. Max on the feet, or Michael suffocating Max up against the cage and putting him in compromisable positions. You know what I'm talking about? So Max is the pick, but if you want action on that one, swap out option is absolutely necessary. If you don't feel that way, then to each their own, man. Chase versus Clay. I'm all over Chase, you know what I mean? Nothing's changed. Chase should be able to get this one done inside the distance via KO, TKO, or submission. If it goes the distance and it goes 15 minutes, I'm a little bit more nervous in that scenario, because that means that obviously Chase was not able to find a finish inside the distance, and Clay the Carpenter possibly kept it highly competitive and closely contested, finding his way through the range, crashing the distance, and implementing a bit of his own game over the course of 15 minutes. So I like Chase, I just don't like the price tag, man. And if it goes the full 15 minutes, maybe Chase can just prove that, he's on another level, and stay completely out the way, keep him at range, play the distance game, pick him apart, not find the finish, but fuck him up over the course of 15 minutes for a unanimous decision. Maybe that happens, man. I would kind of like to see that more than a finish, because I just would kind of like to see that more than a finish. Chase is the pick, though. Now, Dom versus Anthony. Listen, I'd be lying if it could not get spicy. If I was to say it could not get spicy here, that the possibility of Lionheart showing up and, pulling off some Lionheart shit was completely outside the realm of possibility. I'd be a fucking fool to think that, and I'd be doing nobody any favors by, trying to lead you to believe that. Dom, just because Dom has one win over Dustin Jacoby does not mean Dom is back. I have a hard time getting, confidently behind Dom based off of that fact. You understand what I'm saying to you? I've said it many times, and I'll be redundant again. It's not just the Chuck Liddells, but Chuck Liddell is a prime example. There's been plenty of, individuals that have had to exit out Chuck Liddell-esque, you know what I mean? And that's, you might get knocked out 3 or 4 times, you know what I mean? And then find a victory via decision or via finding your own finish inside the distance in the midst of, then get clipped again a couple more times. You know what I'm talking about? Just because Dom got back on the winning side of things with a win over Dustin Jacoby does not necessarily make me believe that Dom is just back and he's a force to be reckoned with all over again. And now the division needs to be, replaced on notice. You know what I mean? That is to be determined. Even with a win over Anthony Lionheart Smith, that is to be determined, especially if he goes out here and it goes 15 minutes and it's a greasy, highly competitive, closely contested decision. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because it is what it is, man. I know he went toe for toe with John, and arguably individuals thought he may have won that matchup. Like, people felt like Gustafsson won the matchup. He did what he did, and then what happened happened. And just because he got a dub doesn't necessarily mean that that's done happening. You know what I mean? What if Lionheart comes out here and gets him down to the ground and pulls off a miraculous submission or something ridiculous inside the distance? I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be a bit upset and disappointed, but I wouldn't be surprised. You understand what I'm saying to you? So I'd be lying if I said it couldn't get spicy here. I like Dom. It is what it is. You know what I'm talking about? But I'd be lying if I said it couldn't get spicy. I'm not all the way sold on the fact that Dom is back. You know what I'm talking about? And even with the win over Lionheart in any way, shape, form, or fashion at this stage of his career and life, period, I still don't know if Dom is back. You know what I'm talking about? It is what it is, and that's the early prelims. And prelims, it's still Chris over Eric, but I don't want a whole lot of action. It's Vicente over Thimble, but obviously I'm properly prepared for being on the wrong side of that as far as parlays are concerned. You know what I'm talking about? It's Brian over Randy, Joshua over Cody, Aljo over Evilov, but I'm probably prepared for being on the wrong side of that as far as parlays are concerned. You know what I'm talking about? Max over Michael, Chase over Clay, and Dom over motherfucking Lionheart. Main core, man, it's Bryce over Kron. But Bryce at the price tag that Bryce is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know that Bryce has ever looked minus 600 against anybody for any promotion in any cage. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe I'm mistaken, but it is what it is. I don't know that Bryce can justify a price tag like that over the course of 15 minutes on the feet in the striking department. You understand what I'm saying to you? Like, we're making Bryce my minus 525 favorite opening against Kron based off of Kron getting the brakes beat off of him by Air Charles Jourdain, and motherfucking Cub Swanson, neither of which Bryce can fuck with on the feet in the striking department if we just talking about, a pure striking match. And they was fucking Kron up because they wasn't trying to go to the ground and roll around on the mat with Kron in his fucking department and risk getting something snatched up and losing via, submission inside the distance, man. You know what I'm talking about? Kron is tough. Kron is durable. And I don't know that Bryce has the pop in his shots, or possesses the power that or the slick abilities, I'm talking about, the diversity on the feet in the striking department I know he doesn't, of a Cub Swanson and a motherfucking Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain just keeps sharpening and keep rounding things off and sharpening things up and just keeps getting better. You know what I'm talking about? So I don't know that Bryce can, is anywhere near that man in the striking department. And that is where they separated themselves from Kron. They fucking, was teeing off on Kron, picking Kron apart. You know what I'm talking about? And staying away from that department where both Bryce and Kron like to do their, best bodies of work. That's not the case with Cub's vicious anywhere. He'll snatch something up and submit you, just like Jourdain. He's vicious anywhere. He'll snatch something up and submit you, but he likes to bang. He likes to, I'm talking about, put on a, produce a good body of work on the fucking feet because he's capable of doing so. Both of them are, you know what I mean? Bryce is not that guy. Bryce likes to mix it up. Bryce likes to take it to the ground. Bryce likes to produce his best body of work on that mat where Kron welcomes all of that. You know what I'm talking about? So I'd like to say that Bryce is going to be able to get this one done via decision. 2 rounds to 1, because I can see a round where Kron, if this is on the feet where it should be, unless Bryce tries to prove something and loses, you know what I mean, trying to do so, or maybe he proves the point, you know what I mean? Who knows? That's just the most dangerous path, you know what I mean? I just, Kron might crack him. At some point, Kron might walk through whatever he's putting out and pop this motherfucker. He might get him out of there inside the distance via KO, to be honest with you. Just walk Bryce the fuck down, because I don't think Bryce is anything like a fucking Cub or a Charles Jourdain on the feet. And I don't think Bryce really wants to roll around with Kron. But that's just my personal opinion. One thing I do know, one thing for sure, and two things for certain: Bryce will not look like that price tag over the course of 15 minutes on the feet, striking with Kron. Because Kron will eat some shit. He'll walk through some shit and possibly land the more powerful shots, man. Kron fuck around and win a decision on the feet against this individual, man. This is two guys who like to produce their their best bodies of work on the ground. They like to mix it up. One of them's a bit more durable, though, and that's fucking Kron. So, it is what it is, man. I said what I said. Nate versus Choi. Nate's the pick. I don't have a whole lot of action on this fight. For most of the action that I do have on this fight, I do have a duplicate ticket in here and there that has Nate in there. Just not many, you know what I mean? Because I don't have much action on this fight, but I do like Choi. They're both dangerous. Most of Choi's finishes, which is pretty much 100% of his wins almost, they come inside the distance, inside the first round. Some of them in the second round. And the only couple times he's been finished came in the second round. Same with Nate. Most of his finishes are in the first 2 rounds, but he's also been finished very quickly in the first round and in the second round. And that's how I see this one going down. The same way old boy got him out of there with the flying knee very quickly in the first round, I can see Choi getting him out of there very quickly, very viciously, very brutally. You know what I'm talking about? This one is not going a distance, in my personal opinion. It's going to end inside the first 10 minutes, possibly inside the first 5 minutes. You know what I'm talking about? And I like Choi. I'm rolling the dice on a slight dog to be the one to get it done. Surreal versus Volkov. The pick is Volkov because I'm standing on my pick. I like Volkov in a 3-round rematch against Gane. Gane won the first matchup 5 rounds via unanimous decision, 25 minutes. And he may very well win this one via unanimous decision over the course of 15 minutes. And I have properly prepared myself for that outcome as far as parlays are concerned. I don't have a whole lot of action on Volkov, but for the action I do have on him, I don't have to go heavy on it based off of the price tag that's next to his name when I swap him out. I can just put a light sprinkle on it and get pretty much the same money I get back for the heavy sprinkles I get with Gane wrapped up with some of these other favorites. You understand what I'm saying to you? So Volkov is the pick. He can win this via, unanimous majority or split decision. Nobody's finding the finish inside the distance, in my personal opinion, over the course of 15 minutes. Anything could happen. They are heavyweights, but I just don't see it happening. And I can see Volkov, implementing a heavier kick game this time around. And, keeping the fight upright, because it'll be Gane trying to take this fight down like he did in the first fight that went 5 rounds. I just think over the course of 15 minutes and 3 rounds, he's not going to be able to really find those takedowns early, and Volkov could possibly edge it out 2 rounds to 1, or we have a split where both of their names get read off, and Volkov is just the one to get the nod. I'm properly prepared for that outcome not to be like that and for it to be Gane, but I'm standing on my pick. Now, Shavkat against Ian, I like Shavkat. Maybe it's just me. I'm highly confident in Shavkat. There are some questions there. That's why I'm more so confident in Joshua Van at -168 over Coden Dirty than I am in Shavkat at -390. You know what I mean? Or Chase at 800, or Kennedy at which I didn't talk about, because I didn't put him on here yet, or Kennedy at -440. You know what I'm talking about? Any of these individuals on this card. To be honest with you, I'm most confident in Joshua Van at -168. But Shavkat, I like Shavkat, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Shavkat got this one done inside the distance via KO, TKO, or submission. It is 5 rounds. It's 25 minutes. And maybe he possibly keeps his finishing rate 100% intact. If not, I can see him winning this one via a very highly competitive, closely contested 25-minute decision. First win via decision, which we've witnessed as of lately a lot of. Mauricio Ruffy, Bo Nickel, quite a few other individuals have won their first ever victory via decision in the year 2024, as far as you know, 100% finishing rates are intact. Now, would I be lying to say that if this thing went 25 minutes, it went to a decision, and it was highly competitive and closely contested, that I would be surprised if Ian was the one to keep his O intact and possibly edge out this nod? No, you know, they both have an O next to their name. They're both very well-rounded, you know what I'm talking about? Both dangerous. I believe one to be a bit more, you know, in every department. You know what I'm talking about? Like Ian, well, wouldn't surprise me if it went to 25 minutes and Ian won via decision, majority split, whatever you want to call it, is because he's the cleaner and crisper striker. You know what I mean? Shavkat, he's clean, he's crisp. They're both technical. It's going to be highly, you know, a technical chess match. You know what I'm talking about? Highly competitive, closely contested. The cleaner shots aren't going to come from Shavkat. Maybe he might land a couple of the more significant shots, but the cleaner shots, and possibly more, you know, the volume, I believe, will be on Ian's side of things. Where Shavkat's not going, you know, he's going to be wanting to mix it up. He's going to want to get in close. He's going to want to drag this thing down. He's going to want to see what Ian's all-around body of work really feels like. You understand what I'm saying to you? And I wouldn't be surprised, man. I like Shavkat. I'm confident in him. Like I said, I was confident in him if Hamzat stayed in this division. But Hamzat wasn't confident in his own abilities staying in this division up against Shavkat Rakhmonov. He did not want to run that fade and, you know, risk that outcome. Too many questions, man. Too many unknowns. He wasn't trying to do that. Let me go up here. I can do a Bobby Knuckles in. I can drag a Drake Stoop. Like, these individuals don't possess certain skill sets in certain departments that Shavkat does. They possess other skill sets in other departments that Shavkat doesn't, but he can eliminate that by putting this fight where he wants it. You know what I'm talking about? Shavkat, I see the same way. The sharper, cleaner, crisper, more abilities and techniques on Ian's side of things. I think they'll get, you know, X'd out by Shavkat closing the distance, you know, making it a bit more grueling, grinding, and taxing, tiresome, making both of them a bit more worse for the wear. I just feel like Shavkat can grind it out all the way. You know what I mean? Where, I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I do have a ticket in that has Ian on it, but it's only one for the main and one for the whole. For the rest of it, you know, as far as that fight's concerned, Shavkat's the way to go for me. You know what I'm talking about? And that main event, man, that main event. Pantoja versus Kai, and no, not that Kai, not Kai Cora France. That other guy, Kai. That new guy, Kai, from the other side, Kai. You know what I'm talking about? And Pantoja, you know, he's the pick. But I'd be an idiot to tell you I'd be surprised if, you know, the ticket where I swapped out Pantoja for old boy is the one that hit. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. Questions, man. A lot of unknowns on that young man. How he's going to perform over here. We know he can be finished inside the distance, clipped and disconnected from his consciousness and beat via decision. Like, we know he knows what it's like to lose up against what I believe to be a lesser level of opposition. So how's he going to fare over here against some of the, you know, what is the highest level of opposition in this division? To be determined, you know what I mean? And it is what it is, man. That's that with that, you know what I'm talking about? That's the final thoughts, the final answers, the final talks, the final lap. Call it what you will. We ran through that motherfucker from bottom to top one more again. And that's that with that. You know what I'm talking about? I appreciate y'all for tapping in. The parlay video for the prelims, the main card, the whole card. the all favorites, the swap out options, the haymakers and Hail Mary tosses with the dog plays for what they worth and everything else. I did my best to cover all bases and secure all doors. That shit's been uploaded, man, as well as everything else. Anything else, we just